Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a supernatural horror film, The Curse. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a documentary playing. The footage has been barred from being publicly shown due to its gruesome content. It revolves around a paranormal writer and researcher who has spent his life chronicling supernatural occurrences in Japan. During the filming of the documentary, his house burnt down and his wife was found dead. What's more, the writer mysteriously disappeared and was never seen again. The documentary footage shot by the writer's cameraman holds the truth to the circumstances surrounding his wife's death and his disappearance. The documentary begins in 2002, 2 years before the fateful events. According to the documentary, the writer went to visit a young housewife who kept hearing babies' voices around her neighbor's house. She reported that a mother and son had moved in next door and were acting strangely. The writer visited the neighbor's house next. The front yard was messy and overgrown, and when he knocked on the door, a ragged woman with dark circles under her eyes came to open the door. She was rude and shouted at the writer before slamming the door in his face. As he walked away, he didn't notice the creepy son peeking from the window. The footage at that exact moment caught a strange sound, so the writer consulted with an expert to decipher it. The expert did a spectrographic analysis and determined that the sound captured was the voices of several babies crying. After that, the writer returned to the housewife's house, and she told them that the mother and son next door had moved out. She never heard baby voices again after they left. When they visited the now empty house, they discovered the bodies of several dead pigeons in the front yard. 5 days later, however, the housewife and her daughter died in a mysterious car crash. In the following, the writer investigated a TV variety program in 2003. A psychic was a guest in one of the episodes, and he tested the clairvoyant abilities of 10 Japanese children by letting them draw what they think is the symbol on a paper hidden inside a tube. Only one girl got the double circle symbol right. Her name is Kana, and she got the next 4 test questions right. However, she failed to get the 5th question. The next test was making water materialize inside a beaker by concentrating. Kana was able to make droplets of water, and a strand of hair appeared out of nowhere. An expert analyzed it and identified the water as having come from a river or lake. Moreover, the strand of hair may also be from a newborn baby. Since she appeared on the TV program, Kana began getting sick. The writer visited her at home and talked to her concerned mother. They are worried that Kana may have exhausted her powers too much. On the other side, the unaired footage from a TV show was found, revealing that an actress visited a popular haunted shrine with 2 program hosts. They found some dead trees with dark liquid oozing from the trunks. The actress then heard a strange male voice, and she doubled over in pain, tortured by an invisible force. Later, the actress attended a talk show with the writer. She talked about her disturbing experience in the shrine and described the man's voice as calling for her. The same psychic from earlier appeared, wearing an eccentric tinfoil hat and jacket. He nervously ambled toward the stage and stared at the actress. He then suddenly attacked her and shouted about pigeons. With many questions unsolved, the writer talked to the director of the TV show that the actress had guested in. He gave him a copy of the footage shot in the shrine and revealed that he had edited a part out right before she fell down because he didn't want to scare her. The writer was astounded by this discovery and immediately showed the footage to the actress. The video showed that she started saying that she saw so many apparitions around her. Behind her near the dead trees was a scary and unidentifiable figure. The actress also revealed that after she visited the shrine, she began unconsciously drawing strange loops. Meanwhile, Kana's behavior worsened. One night while having dinner with her parents, she lost consciousness, and the plates on the table flew off on their own. The variety show featured the psychic next. The host visited his house and saw that the walls are covered with foil from top to bottom. Papers with strange markings are also scattered around the house. The psychic warned that ectoplasmic worms are all around them. In December 2003, Kana vanished mysteriously. Her parents told the writer that in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, a man wearing a tinfoil hat kept visiting Kana. But the girl assured her parents that the man meant no harm. Left on her bed was one of the papers, with strange markings from the psychic's place. One of the markings looked similar to the loops, which the actress kept drawing. To confirm his suspicions, the writer went to the psychic's house. The psychic let him in and explained that the tinfoil protects him from the ectoplasmic worms that can eat people. According to him, Kana was eaten by the worms, and he no longer knew where she is. He suddenly grabbed the writer's bag and plucked the paper found at Kana's house. He then said that he saw a vision of a blue building with a parking lot next to it. The psychic proceeded to draw a map of his vision and said that the worms were coming out of the building. He shouted the name Kagutaba and began freaking out. The cameraman informed the writer that something weird happened with the footage of the psychic. The video feed appeared damaged. and little faces resembling alien-like creatures appeared on the footage. The faces are also similar to the symbol drawn by Kana when she was on the TV show, as well as the figure caught on camera behind the actress in the shrine. The actress called the writer and told him she had been tying knots with yarn in her sleep. The knots looked like the strange loops she had also been drawing. To get to the bottom of what's happening to her, he set up a camera to film her while she's sleeping. The next morning, the actress and the writer reviewed the footage. It showed her waking up in the middle of the night and going out to her terrace. She then went back to sleep and woke up the next day, but with no memory of what she did last night. It turned out she was tying knots again, but this time using an electric cord. The actress also reported hearing banging noises from the apartment above, so they went up to the aforementioned apartment and asked the girl living there if she was the one banging on the floor, but she was confused and said no. Next, the psychic's directions led the writer to a blue building where lives a man named Asawa. There were pigeons on his veranda, and his neighbor told the writer that Asawa was acting strangely. There were even banging sounds coming from his apartment as well. The writer and his cameraman observed Asawa's coming and going and witnessed as he grabbed one of the pigeons perched on his veranda. He went back inside his apartment holding the pigeon, but Asawa disappeared shortly after. The writer also took the tape of the actress sleeping and had the sound analyzed by the same expert he consulted earlier. He processed the footage and isolated a voice chanting the name Kagutaba. When the actress listened to the processed audio, she remarked that it sounded like the voice she heard in the shrine. The writer began calling experts to unearth Kagutaba's identity. He finally tracked down an old man who identified Kagutaba as a demon plaguing a small countryside village. He further explained that Kagutaba was mentioned in a centuries-old story of a sorcerer from the village who summoned the demon. It said that Kagutaba rebelled against the sorcerer's wishes and the sorcerer cast another spell to lock the demon underground. Because of that, the villagers had to perform the binding ritual yearly to keep Kagutaba imprisoned. They would often use dogs in that ritual. In 1978, the village was demolished, and the site where it once stood was now under a dam. To gain more information, the writer tracked down a videotape of the ritual. It depicted a priest and his daughter at the shrine, performing a dance with claps and bows. The daughter was wearing a mask and a kimono, while the priest was holding a sickle. He feigned hitting the daughter with a sickle, and she fell to the ground screaming. Then she was possessed by the demon Kagutaba, who the villagers said was angry because of the dam being constructed. Shortly afterward, the priest and his wife died of sickness. The daughter is revealed to be none other than the neighbor mother shown at the beginning of the film, who lived in the house with the baby voices. The writer further found out that the mother now moved out to her family's house. Outside her house are ropes tied in the same loops as the actresses. Just like last time, the mother was very rude and kicked the writer out of her property. He walked around and saw sickles nailed to the doorways of the houses nearby. There were also a lot of dogs being kept in the neighborhood. He interviewed a neighbor who had known the mother since she was a girl. She told him that the mother had gone to a nursing school before, but after the ritual, her behavior changed, and she became unstable. The mother even told people that she heard a god's voice during the ritual. The writer asked the neighbor about the demon Kagutaba and its curse, but her face went blank, and she walked away. In January 2004, the writer went to the nursing school where the mother studied. There he found out that she worked in an abortion clinic, and there were rumors that she took the aborted embryos home. Later on, the writer met with a grief-stricken actress. She shared that her upstairs neighbor hanged herself, along with 6 other people in a park. The nooses they used to hang themselves were similar to the loops that the actress kept tying in her sleep. Terrified, the actress left her apartment. The writer was kind enough to invite her into his home. It is revealed that Asawa was one of the 6 people who hanged themselves with the upstairs neighbor. The writer returned to the blue building and talked to the male neighbor of Asawa. He recounted that Asawa was a nice man before, but he suddenly changed when a female and her young son moved next door. Asawa had complained to her about the baby voices he kept hearing. The writer suddenly realized that the female neighbor he was talking about was actually the same mother. There was now a pattern of the mother's neighbors hearing baby voices and then dying under mysterious circumstances. Meanwhile, the actress got settled in the writer's house and immediately bonded with his wife. While she was cooking lunch for the wife, her face suddenly went blank. Pigeon after pigeon started slamming into the window, and the actress fell to the floor unconscious. Later, they discovered that the pigeons died upon impact. Trying to connect all the pieces together, the writer and the actress visited the psychic. They showed him a tape of the mother, and he recoiled in horror when he saw her face. It dawned on the writer that the ectoplasmic worms that the psychic was raving about could be the face of the demon Kagutaba. With no answer from the psychic, the actress decided that she wanted to go to the dam to perform the ritual. She was afraid that she would die next, so she was desperate to try anything to save herself. The writer reluctantly agreed to her plan. He convinced the terrified psychic to go with them. Together, they drove to the site of the former village. When they passed the neighborhood where the mother lives, the writer noticed that the dogs outside the houses were all gone. They'd arrived at the dam. The actress and the writer took a boat and rowed to the middle. She started the ritual by using a sickle to cut a long white piece of cloth. Then she performed the special bow and clap. When her head rose up, she told the writer that she felt a lot better. The psychic and the cameraman both stayed behind at the shore. The psychic began panicking and hysterically shouted at the two to immediately go back because the ectoplasmic worms will eat them. He then ran into the forest for life. The writer chased after the psychic. They went deeper into the forest. The actress and the cameraman got into the car and were instructed by the writer to go ahead and leave. On the way back, she fell asleep. Night fell, and the psychic was still agitated. They stumbled upon the village dogs' dead bodies. Apparently, they were disemboweled as part of a ritual. What's weirder, a rope was tied around the area, with feathers hanging from it. Right then, a groaning noise came from the actress, and the cameraman became worried about her. He stopped the car and went to check on her. She screamed and fled into the forest. The cameraman followed her. The psychic led the writer to a shrine. He uttered Kana's name and shrieked. When the writer turned on the camera and pointed it at the shrine, he saw a vision of Kana's spirit sitting on the forest floor, surrounded by the corpses of fetuses. Meanwhile, the cameraman found the actress writhing on the ground. All of a sudden, she stopped and woke up, appearing to be fine, as if nothing happened. They took the actress and the psychic to the hospital for treatment. Afterward, the writer and the cameraman went to the mother's house for further investigation. They entered it, only to see the house in a mess. Several pigeons were wandering inside. Upstairs, they found more knotted ropes and the dead body of the mother. She had hanged herself. Behind her were dozens of Kagutaba masks and dead pigeons. The writer also found the son sitting on the floor in shock. Beside him was the dead body of Kana. The police were called to the scene. The writer and his wife decided to adopt the son, who was discovered to have not been the biological child of the mother. Meanwhile, the actress made a full recovery and stopped experiencing hallucinations. However, the psychic was committed to a mental institution. The writer looked further into the myth of the demon Kagutaba and the village. He found a scroll depicting the process of the ritual to summon Kagutaba. The villagers sacrificed baby monkeys, slaughtering them like how the village dogs were slaughtered. He then speculated that ever since the mother was possessed by Kagutaba, she became hellbent on her mission to free the demon by performing the original summoning ritual. Instead of baby monkeys or dogs, the mother used the aborted fetuses she got from the clinic. She then kidnapped Kana and force-fed her the fetuses, and used her as a medium to summon the demon. The deaths of her former neighbors and the people around her could be attributed to the curse of the demon. The full truth could never come to light now, since the mother had killed herself. The writer finished the documentary in April 2004. Days later, his house burned down with his wife inside, and he also disappeared. The psychic also escaped from the mental institution and was found dead inside the sewer. A month later, a camera was sent to a publishing company by the writer. Inside was a cassette tape. It showed the psychic visiting the writer's home right after escaping the institution. He was mumbling about hearing Kana's voice in his head and that the demon is still alive. The writer tried to assure him that Kagutaba's curse had ended, but the psychic just ran inside the house and grabbed the adopted son. He held a rock in his hand and bashed the boy in the head with it, while the writer and his wife tried to stop him. However, the son suddenly rose and his face looked like the demon. It then became clear that the mother's summoning ritual was successful, and the demon now inhabited the boy's body. He stood motionless in the middle of the room, and Kana's spirit briefly appeared. Then the wife and psychic got possessed by the demon. The psychic hit the writer with the rock. He took the son's hand and walked out of the house with him, but the psychic was found dead inside the sewer afterward. The writer's wife doused herself with gasoline and lit herself on fire, causing the house to burn down. The movie ends with the writer before his disappearance, struggling to get up and screaming his wife's name. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.